Hi, I'm Bryan. I'm doing an interview for MTG Commander. This is my Arcum Dagson deck for EDH. Arcum Dagson was actually originally not an easy choice due to the fact that it was an easy choice mainly because I was looking for an artifact deck to play, and after some suggestions, Arcum Dagson became a very easy card to choose due to its ability, which is simply a tap and target artifact creature controller and sacrifices that creature. Then they search their library for a artifact card and put it into play. For only 4 mana, he's very easy to get out, and he's very threatening when you play him. Alright, well here are a couple of the planeswalkers in the deck, the only two I run. I have Tezzeret, which is great, as his +1 untap 2 artifacts. His -X, which allows you to search for any artifact in the deck. And his -5, which turns all artifacts into creatures until end of turn. 5/5 artifact creatures until end of turn. Now, he's not really needed in the deck, but he leaves people off my back for a turn. Here we have Jace, which is +2, everybody draws a card. His -1, you draw a card. Or his -10, mill the top 20 cards of any player's library, which is very useful. Plus, if you use the +2, people tend to leave him alive a bit longer. Gives you great cards. These are the sorcerers in the deck. We have Reshape, Shape Anew, and Fabricate, each one allowing you to go through your deck to find artifacts. The best one would most likely be Fabricate. However, Reshape and Shape Anew are both useful, and it helps you get artifacts in your deck very easily. So the instants in the deck. Mystical Tutor, very useful, as you can search for your Fabricate, or search for other instants, such as Brainstorm, which allows you to draw 3 cards and then put 2 cards from your hand onto your library. And Into Thin Air, which has affinity for artifacts, and for its cost, you return target artifact on the field to your hand. Then we have a few counter spells, such as Counterspell, which is 2 mana. Spelljack, 6 mana, but you get to remove the card from the game and then pay it without paying its mana cost. Stoke Rebuttal, which is a counterspell if you have 3 or more artifacts on the field. And we have Deprive, which you return a land to your hand and you counter target spell. Alright, here we have the enchantments of this deck. Leyline Anticipation first. It gives all your cards flash, and if it's in your opening hand, it comes to play. Along with that, we have Future Sight, which allows you to look at the top card of your library, which can be very useful in this deck. You know you play any card as though you're in your hand. Copy Artifact, which I use very often on my artifacts. I have copied several things with it. Blightsteel Colossus, I've copied Nuisance Engine, I've copied Gilded Lotus. Anything that I need at the time I use it. We have March of the Machines, which is very deadly with Mycosynth, as it turns everything to an artifact, and then all artifacts become artifact creatures with mana equal to their casting cost. So you can easily get rid of all lands that way. Along with that, very threatening things such as Arcum Memorial and Darksteel Forge, which become very powerful creatures that you can use. Finally, as the card we were talking about before, Intruder Alarm, which whenever a creature comes into play, you untap all creatures. Therefore, this with Nuisance Engine allows you to put in a token, untap all creatures, and the Karn combo allows you to turn Nuisance Engine and Gilded Lotus into creatures. Then you put out a token, you pay in 3 mana, put out a token for 2 mana, and repeat the process, getting unlimited mana, unlimited creatures. Alright, this is the land base for the deck. You start off with 12 islands, which are very easy to get. For the on basic lands, we have Vesuva, which is very useful, being able to copy any land on the field of either player.
What do you like to copy with it?
Usually I copy whichever is most useful at the time. Often it ends up being an island, but when it's not that, I try copying anything that can be of use. Also, Temple of the False God is another thing I copy with Vesuva, as once you have 5 lands out, you have an additional 2 colorless mana. Halloween Depths. It allows you to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and rearrange them, which can be very useful at any point in the game. For the Urza Mine, Urza Tower, and Urza Power Plant, I try to get them out as soon as possible, as when you have all 3, you get an additional 7 mana, and they produce colorless regardless, which is still useful. Mystifying Maze here is meant to get rid of any really dangerous creature coming at you during a combat. anything that can end the game, you want to be able to remove that from combat right away. For the manlands, that's just another sacrifice for Arcum Dagson. They produce colorless mana regardless, and you need something. Urza's factory over here gives you the ability to create tokens for 7 mana, which is useful. You have Tonic Edge here, which you can sacrifice to get rid of the land that's causing you problems, such as Urborg, Yagama's Tomb, or something else that could be very dangerous. I have 2 artifact lands here, which also help in the deck, plus I can search for them with Arcum Dagson. We have Mistami School at Water's Edge, which allows you to untap a legendary creature. Often Arcum Dagson is very useful with this, as you can get 2 sacrifices off the same turn. You have Reliquary Tower, which gives you an unlimited hand size, which is a staple in any EDH. You have Eye of Ugin, which allows you to tap 7 mana and tap Eye of Ugin to search for a colorless creature. And this deck is full of artifact creatures, colorless and not colorless. And then you have Academy Ruins, which allows you to return stuff from your graveyard to the top of your deck for 2 mana and a tap. These are the mana fixing artifacts for the deck. Over here we have Gilded Lotus, which allows you to put out which allows you to add 3 mana of any color to your mana pool. After that we have Soul Ring, which is stable in any EDH, being able to tap for 2 colorless mana. And here we have Thrandanimo, another very commonly found artifact, which adds 3 colors to your mana pool. Down here we have Lotus Petal, which adds 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Unfortunately, you have to sacrifice. However, it is 0 mana to put out. And then you have Lotus Bloom, which has a spend of 3, allowing you to add 3 colorless mana of any color to your mana pool. Along with that, we also have other artifacts. We have Nuisance Engine right here, which is a great artifact engine. Token engine, which allows you to put out more tokens to sacrifice. We have Mycosynth, which in this deck is very useful, allowing you to turn all cards on the field, in deck, graveyard, everything is colorless, which works very well with Eye of Ugin, allowing you to search for any colorless creature. With Mycosynth in play, it's very useful. Another card that's very useful with Mycosynth is Darksteel Forge, allowing you to turn all your artifact creatures, all artifacts indestructible. Mycosynth turning everything into an artifact as well as colorless. And the combo to work with this very evil combo is Memnarch's Disc, allowing you to destroy all artifacts on the field. And with this combo, your stuff are indestructible, while everything else is an artifact. You will destroy lands, creatures, enchantments, everything. Mana Web, which is very evil in any deck that runs it. Usually, people run 2 or 3 colors in EDH, but this allows you to tap all the mana that produces 1 color. So if they tap an island, and they have things like Glacial Fortress on the field, that would be tapped as long as all islands.
Yeah, it's a very evil card.
Yes. Jester's Cap is not really needed in this deck, but I run it as I can often get rid of 3 evil cards in their deck. We have Sentient Divining Top, sacrifice and search, tap, search, 1 mana, search for, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and rearrange them in any order, same that Halimar Depths does. Then you can also tap it and take the top card of your deck and put it in your hand, while you're putting this back to the top of your deck. Here we have Expedition Map, which allows you to search for any land in your deck for 1 mana put out, and tap in 2 to search for it. Here we have a very useful card, Myr Bat, allowing you to put any creature that's been sent to your graveyard on it, and you can pay 3 and tap it to make a copy.
What do you normally like to copy with Myr Bat?
What I usually copy with Myr Bat from my deck is Wurmcoil Engine, being able to produce multiple copies, as it also produces 2 combos, but we'll get back to the 2 tokens, we'll get back to that later. Here we have Pariah's Shield, which I often put on one of my artifacts that is indestructible, being able to redirect all damage that would be done to me to it instead. We have Argentum Armor, which allows you to get +6/+6 on your creature, and whenever it attacks, you destroy target permanent. Arcum's Memorial, which is very useful, giving your creatures flying, first strike, vigilance, and protection from front and back. I think it also has trampling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is very useful, as any creature you have can immediately attack. You have Sculpting Steel, which allows me to duplicate any artifact on the field.
What do you generally duplicate with it?
What I usually duplicate is actually, you have the notice, give me an additional 3 mana of any color. Battle Effigy, allow me to remove any threats for 4 mana. We have Vidalcan Shackles, which allows you to tap and 2 mana to take control of any creature with power equal to or less than the amount of islands you have in play. We also have Voltaic Key, which allows you to pay 1 and untap any artifact, which is very useful in this deck, as many things that you tap, such as Nuisance Engine, or even when you have this card on the field with Arcum Dagson and you like to untap them, so you can sacrifice again. And finally we have Mindslaver, which is evil in all senses of the term. 4 mana and tap, you sacrifice it, and you gain control of target player's next turn.